want to show ourselves as people that want to do away with the type of things that's taking place.
Oh dear me! You can't even get your thoughts together. You're picard, pathetic.
Okay, can you explain why it isn't explained so much why 6,000 civilians have been killed in Panama? We invade Panama, but now we complain when Saddam Hussein invades another person. In other words, we're a bunch of hypocrites ourselves.
No, we're not hypocrites at all. First of all, one situation has nothing to do with the other.
Right. This is what the guest is saying, that one situation has nothing to do with the other.
Forget about it. First of all, he's not the guest, he's gone. So one situation has nothing to do with the other. You got to remember that. Secondly, there's no way, nobody has ever invented a way to keep innocent people from getting killed in a war. Nobody's figured that out yet. And if they ever do, we'll be the ones knocking ourselves out to do that.
Well, the point is that we seem to go out and be the guardian angels of the world. And first we have to straighten out our home rather than to
all right, we'll straighten our home. We'll straighten this program out. We'll straighten this program out by getting you off of it. Get off! On WABC, what a mealy-mouthed little censored.
And the Needlenose would be a much more qualified president of OTV.
Well, of course, a show wager is that he would come in third.
Right.
Place is second, and win, of course, is to win. I mean, yeah. But Paul Needlenose Minaj, by the way, right now is doing some time at the Elgin Air Force Base, minimum security facility in Elgin Air Force Base, Florida, because he told the federal authorities that he wanted to improve his pinochle game, which apparently is very big down there, the group down at Elgin. I don't know anything about pinochle. It sounds like a boring game, except every time I see Mike Farakis, when I go into the incredible Rio Diner, Mike keeps talking about playing pinochle. Matter of fact, let me tell you this. Mike Farakis is the only guy who could travel and has traveled all around the world, and when you ask him, well, what did you see? He says, I don't know, I was busy playing pinochle with my friend Sock. Talk that way. I don't like the character you're assuming.
I do talk this way. That's the way.
No, you can't possibly.
Listen, you're going to tell me this is the way I speak.
You know, you're putting it on. You're putting it on.
I'm not putting it on. I'm not lying to you.
You're putting it on. You're a fake.
I'm not a fake. Look,
you're a fraud.
I'm the guy that calls you up about the hairpiece, but I'm going to stop doing that for now.
Yeah, you're going to stop doing it because you know there is no hairpiece. That's number one.
Well, just for the New Year coming up, I'm going to give up all my bad habits.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm not going to call you anymore.
Because he's a jerk.
I mean, what's going on here, Bob?
What's going on? Well, of course, he's not the only jerk.
Could you hear me now?
That's better.
I got my antenna up.
Uh-huh.
I have a Christmas story for you and your family.
Uh-oh.
I think you'll love it. I just want you to know, just because we're in the business of doing certain things, it doesn't mean that we don't have a heart or compensation or respect for animals. And I know you love animals.
I don't.
You don't?
No. I love people.
Well, people I find very boring. I despise them. But animals, I have a compassion for them.
Well, I do like a pug. Give me a pug dog or an English bull, but that's about it.
Well, this is a story about a little kitten. Very sad story, but it has a happy ending.
Oh, well, Vito, go right ahead. This is Vito calling from Homedale, ladies and gentlemen. Vito, who now with his Goombata John in the slammer, Vito, who looms larger than ever on the landscape.
Well, John's all tied up, you know that.
Yes.
Anyway, here's the story. I was in my dump truck, the cement truck, and all of a sudden I heard a screaming and a crying of a little kitten. And I went over to the other car, and I seen the kitten was in the engine of another car. The guy was about to start the engine, and I warned him about this cat that's in the engine. I opened the engine, and sure enough, the cat was sitting on top of the engine block, and I saved its life. A little black, innocent little kitten, black it was. And I took it home to me to the mansion, and I had it shot, and it's a story from rags to riches. He was close to death, and now he's living in the lap of luxury with love, warmth, and passion. And I named him B.G.
B.G. Uh-huh.
Benny Goodman.
Uh-huh, very good. I knew it was Benny Goodman.
Well, you thought it was Bob Graham.
No, I didn't.
What's that?
I did. There's a lot of B.G.s.
Goes without saying. Well, anyway, I know you've
Goes
been...
without saying.
Now, listen closely, you meatball. Here's the story.
Uh-oh, this guy's getting tough, yeah.
First of all, you're a genius. That goes without saying, and I know you're sick of hearing that.
No, I like when you say it.
Well, that goes without saying, too.
I like when okay.
First of all, you are a genius, and every day is the same thing. You're a genius, you're great, you're fabulous. What's the sense? You are a genius, and you got to accept that fact. I know you're very humble, and you're getting fed up with people calling you a genius, but it's something you got to accept it.
All right, I accept it. I'm a genius. I accept it.
Okay. I want to wish you a happy Christmas, and all the world will wait for your return to New York City. Without you here, it's an empty, shallow town.
Vito, coming from you, I cherish that. I really appreciate that. I'm asking the engineering department to give me a recording of this portion of the broadcast, so whenever my spirits, for one reason or another, are brought down, whenever I'm not feeling the same enthusiasm for life that I'd like to feel, I will play that tape, hear your voice, saying what you've said, and I know I will feel better again.
Goes without saying.
Goes...
Stop the ball. Be a good boy.
Okay, Vito. Oh, that's Vito. Vito, it goes without saying, Corleone. Hey, oh, now I feel it's official. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel officially welcomed back because it's Vito on the line.
The family sent me a letter the other night, and I'd like to say this. There's about 8 people's names on this list, and it's the most contributed to Ajita in this country, in boredom. The names are Cindy Hall, Sally Field, Wayne Newton, Al Sharpton, Zazzle Pitts, Esther Williams, and Jay Diamond.
You got quite a combination there.
It goes without saying.
Yeah.
I received a letter from somebody who you know very well. It says, "Thank you, Mr. Graham, for being the greatest name and talk show host, the most intellectual human being on the face of the earth. Your dear friend, George Bush."
Wow.
These are the things that I want the people who are listening to realize that you're a man to be respected and a man also to be feared. You're a great man, and whoever doesn't listen to you, they will listen to me. Because that is no matter, and you realize it's punishable by death.
I want you to know, Vito, if your ears were ringing last week, the week before, it's because many people who are on the A bus and then the B bus, I tried to spread myself out a little bit, asked about you, if you were related to the great musician Phil Ambrose.
Well, Phil is a very nice man. You know, once in a while, he goes off. And right now he's in Saudi Arabia. He's trying to make a deal with Saddam Hussein. Your name was mentioned 67 times. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. I just want you to know, thank you for being on the radio. And of course, there's one thing I must say. When you were gone, I finally realized, and of course millions of Americans realize the same moment, that there is sincerely only one Bob Grant. You are truly the master of what you do. And nobody, then or now, will ever shine your shoes. It goes without saying.
It goes without saying. You know, Vito, I feel that we can sum up tutti goes by saying it goes without saying. Don't you think so?
No question about it. In fact, I'll say it to you in Italian. Spero voce raffangate di domumate, sto vos vita cafe fubuse. And it goes without saying. Stop.
Vito, it's always a pleasure, and I might add, an honor to hear from you. I'll give the boys down on Mulberry Street and President Street your fondest regards.
Be a good boy.
Okay, ciao, Vito. That's Vito. And now I feel that I've officially returned. Buddy, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Bob. I had a conversation with an Israeli today who I thought might be interesting to share with your radio audience. This gentleman was involved with the Tempe mission, also, as I said, was with Israeli intelligence. You know, and his whole attitude or perspective about what's going on, he feels that we don't realize that the Americans who are stationed over there now are no more equipped for war than any other force you've ever had in any other area. In other words, the concentration of the forces that we have in that one area of the desert, and forgetting about chemical warfare or whatever, that every Iraqi gun is focused, aimed in on that area there. And his feeling is that, knowing the area quite well, that the amount of, I hate to frighten people who listen to this broadcast because of members of families and so forth, but it would be a total disaster within the first 48 hours. And then not only that, but after 48 hours of constant bombardment, I mean, how many people at that point would be prepared to move in forward after we go stay true with an air attack? I mean, we hear so many different reports coming out of this area. And yet, unlike Vietnam, when the generals who approached, I remember President Johnson at the time, telling him that we weren't ready to bring in more troops, and these people were quieted down until after their retirement, and then speaking in front of the various war colleges, they were able to tell them exactly what was going on. And we've had people over there in our military, I can't recall the general's name, who also mentioned that we weren't ready. And being ready doesn't necessarily mean we don't have the troops there or we don't have the equipment there. It just means we don't have the defenses there to stop what would happen within the first 24, 48 hours. It doesn't mean to say that we wouldn't win out, but it does mean to say that the casualties we would suffer would be just tremendous. And, I read all the reports, I read the newspapers, I listen to the various shows, and unfortunately we're so apart, the American people, on what's going on, that
What do you mean by apart? What do you mean?
Well, I'm saying it becomes more of a political issue with Congress now getting the support of Congress. And Bush says, well, 200 times in our history, we've gone into war without congressional backing. If we, when I say we, if the Congress, if the American people was shown or knew the true facts, I don't think we would be so gung-ho thinking we'd go in and within 48 hours or 4 or 5.
Well, you are assuming you are in possession of all the facts.
No, I'm not.
You're sitting there on the telephone going on and on and on as though you are in possession of all the facts.
No, you're
and then when I tell you that that's the way you sound, you say, oh, no, I'm not. I'm not in possession of all the facts. Well, if you're not in possession of all the facts, why in the world are you imitating a guy who's in possession of all the facts? You meet some guy that you
could be able to speak, or
you have been speaking, and I've been listening to this garbage coming out of you. I've been listening very well. First of all, you're very sophomoric. Here you are. You say, "Oh, I met this Israeli guy who knows the area quite well." This Israeli guy is out of step with the rest of his government. The rest of his government. David Levy of the Ministry of Defense doesn't share this great expert's viewpoint, pal. So why are you conveniently calling the program right now to suggest otherwise? Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Because I felt like sharing what I heard.
What you heard? Well, listen,
anything that I say to you or any of the callers says to you, or whatever you say to any caller, is strictly hearsay because we're hearing it second and third hand, obviously. Is that correct?
Obviously is right.
Okay.
Why didn't you acknowledge that before?
What is your whole broadcast based on?
Well, look, you know what it's based on? I tell you what it's really based on.
It's based on sand.
No, I tell you what it's really based on.
You won't stick to issues with your callers. Getting off the subject.
It's based on my giving an honest reaction. I don't say...
What do you mean, honest reaction? Based on what?
What you're getting right now is an honest reaction. You sound to me like a pompous pretender.
You're the one who's doing all the screaming and the yelling.
You're sounding to me like a pompous pretender.
These are your words. No, you're trying to destroy what I said by saying what
you're so insecure. I sat here and for almost 3... Hey, listen, jerk. I sat here for almost... you want me to hang up on you? Want me to hang up?
On me? I don't care.
Hey, buddy, you have a choice. I'll do one of two things. I'll continue talking to you if you can keep your dumb mouth shut.
Oh, now I have a dumb mouth.
Or I'll hang up on you and talk about you. Which do you prefer?
Well, you do talk about other people.
Which do you prefer? You see, I
you.
sat here for 3 minutes, and I listened to you, and I didn't say a word. Then you invited my response. You didn't like my response, and here you are, you're jumping in again. Get off the phone, you creep. You stupid skunk. Like to knock your nose right down your dumb throat. Buddy. A grown man calling himself Buddy. Buddy! That jerk!
This is...
Well, I don't believe it either, and I think that anybody, in particular Lautenberg, who has such a terrible record on foreign affairs, the man is an absolute moron. It's a travesty that he should occupy a seat in the United States Senate. It really is. At least Bradley has a fair record in foreign affairs. In some areas, he's been excellent, I must admit. But Lautenberg has been a total, complete disaster. He never should have been sent to the United States Senate. And if you get any information from his office, it cannot be accurate information. As a matter
I have a question and then a few very quick comments. First, the question. A while back, you quoted Ted Turner on your show. I believe he said something along the line that the situation in Israel is the same as the situation in South Africa as far as the system of apartheid is concerned.
I didn't quote him as saying that. I did not quote Ted Turner as saying that.
You were reading a source that had quoted him then, maybe?
No, I think somebody else made the quote, but or read somebody else read it. I didn't read it.
Okay, I was just wondering if you could, document that for me because I'd like to use it.
No, I didn't read it.
Okay, I understand that now. Thanks, I appreciate that. Just a few quick comments. You commented earlier that some of the super rich, as you said, seem to espouse, anti-American or anti-Israeli views. At first, I'd like to say that I don't believe that being pro-Palestinian necessarily means that a person has to be anti-Israeli.
Well, I wasn't talking about just in the context of the Middle East. There are other issues as well.
Okay. I think that part of the reason maybe a number of these extremely rich people that are in the public eye, such as Ted Turner, might express pro-Palestinian views is probably partly because of their wealth and that they're not under any influence or effect by the Israeli lobby, and they're probably not, afraid to speak out on this issue that is very controversial.
In other words, and I knew you were going to say what you were going to say because you telegraph yourself as the worm, the weasel, the snake, the anti-Semitic skunk, the louse you are. It's interesting, Jim, guys like you, you telegraph what you are by the way you talk. There's a certain quality to your voice that tells me you're a sleaze bag, and if I saw you walking down the street, I'd probably want to punch your nose right down your throat, you fake, phony, fraud, anti-Semitic creep.
No, it's not anti-Semite.
Oh, you are too. You are too.
Well, that's one of
you
the
are too. When you come up with that phony diatribe, they're probably too wealthy. They don't have to worry about the Israeli lobby. I don't worry about the Israeli lobby. I'm not wealthy.
But Bob, why are you equating any criticism of Israel or the Israeli lobby as being anti-Semitism? There are many Jews in America that feel the same way.
I don't think you're in a position to tell me about many Jews feeling the same way. That's number one. Number two, I don't think that you are drawing the right conclusion.
In what way? I don't understand.
In what way? In the way that you want to propose the Palestinians as your cause. That's fine. But don't tell me that anybody who opposes American policy is doing so for noble purposes.
Oh, I don't believe that I said that.
No, you didn't say that, but it certainly sounds like that's what you believe. Joe, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hello, Bob. I was very surprised that no one picked up on Channel 2 the other night when that this John Slattery. I guess with friends like that, the United States really doesn't stand a chance. He's covering our boys over there with the Desert Shield, and he's showing us the desert dooms, and he's saying, well, look at here, all these desert dooms. They're really not desert dooms. They're hiding our planes. And he takes a close-up of our planes underneath the desert dome. Why doesn't he just give them a map of
listen. If he had done anything that was wrong, he would have heard about it. He didn't give away anything.
No, I know.
As a matter of fact, I think it's good to do that, so that if the Iraqis look out and think they're just looking at sand, they have to think again. He didn't do anything wrong. Cut it out.
You don't really think that's defeating a purpose where you
no, I don't think he did. I don't think he did anything wrong.
You have newsmen over there that.
I don't think he did anything wrong. Listen, they're only covering what they're allowed to cover anyway.
But the other guys he's interviewing over there, all the guys that are crying, oh, I don't want to be here, I wish I was home. And the guy with his teddy bear and this and that. And imagine those, they looking at the TV and they're seeing all our big hero soldiers. And all they're saying is, oh, I don't want to be, I really want to be home with my kids.
What do you want them to lie and say, hey, we're happy to be here in the middle of the desert. We're looking forward to getting shot. We're looking forward to bombs exploding. We're looking forward to it.
No,
is that what you expect them to say?
Forward to it, but I just think that.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we're watching different news because I've seen a lot of a lot of service people that I'm proud of.
You better believe it, me too. I have a lot.
Well, then, what are you talking about? You see them with the teddy bears. Get off my phone. You sound like a real little two-bit capone. You know that?
Okay.
You sound like a real capone.
Yeah.
Proprio no capone.
It's unbelievable.
Capone. That slams the lid on things for today until tomorrow. This Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. It's 6 o'clock. Guys like Tom Harkins don't bother me as much as guys like Sam Nunn. Now, in case you don't know who they are, Tom Harkins is an out-and-out far left-wing liberal who loved the Sandinistas, who thought Daniel Ortega was a great guy, who loved the FMLN in El Salvador. He is sympathetic to every left-wing cause you could possibly imagine. He is about as far left as you can possibly get. But he does not make a pretense to be anything other than what he is. He opposes giving the president the congressional approval to take whatever necessary action may be deemed proper after the January 15th deadline. You know where he stands. But then you take a duplicitous sleazeball artist like Sam Nunn, who sounds like a Mark Anthony with horn-rimmed glasses, talking for what seemed like hours on how much he supported the president, how much he supported being strong, being firm, how much he despised and loathed Saddam Hussein, and then in the next breath told you that sanctions should be given a chance to work. The distinguished senator from Virginia, John Warner, made a monkey out of Sam Nunn in quoting Sam Nunn from a March 7th, 1988 speech. And the effect of that 1988 speech was to say things contrary to what Sam Nunn is saying on the Senate floor today. But make no mistake, by virtue of these debates and by virtue of what could be a vote not in favor of four-square support for the president, it will only heighten the contempt, increase the contempt that Saddam Hussein has for the rest of the world in general and for us in particular. And it is unfortunate, to say the least, that people like Sam Nunn put politics above the future of their country.
You know, nothing's really ever going to happen. Or a second approach would be that he really wants, he can't, if he would go out now without any fight, he would lose face. And a dictator like him can only maintain power by showing his own power. So he'll fight a battle, inflict a few thousand lives, because he doesn't care if he loses a few thousand lives, and then he'll try to back out and go back, and he'll look like a hero because he fought the great Satan, America. And we in America will be very disconcerted by the fact that so many lives were lost and will have no stomach to continue the fight. And a third, this is just an amusing spy novel type of scenario, is that in truth, what's really going on, I don't mean this in reality, it's just for, you know, an interesting idea, is that he really has nuclear weapons provided to him by the Soviet Union, and he should, God forbid, drop them on our troops and with a few nuclear bombs wipe out our whole force. Now we're totally off guard because we're poised to attack the Persian Gulf.
Why don't you take a course in fiction writing and put that sick imagination of yours to work making some money?
Why do you always descend to invective when you're...
No, why? I'll tell you why. Because you got a sick mind. Because you have a sick mind. That's why. You're a sick person, a very sick person. Why don't you go out and shoot yourself? Why don't you shoot yourself? Why don't you take yourself out of your misery?
You know that what an idiot you are by...
Oh, really? If you thought I was...
Why don't you say Gabon a little bit and show how stupid you are?
Why did you call me? If you thought I was so stupid, if you thought I was an idiot, why call me? I don't call people I think are idiots. I don't even listen to them. Get off my phone, you jerk. I see they're going to blow up the Staten Island ferry.
That'll clog up the Kill Van Cove. You got the VZ Bridge, which will bottleneck the harbor.
You know what I think happens? There was a psychiatrist, Dr. Herman Sirota. He advanced the theory that any time there was a national crisis, the neuroses of the population increased. It brought out the latent illness in everybody.
But what else have they got to strike back with?
Yeah.
They have no long-range bombs.
All right, well, stay off the Staten Island ferry then, since Saddam Hussein may be planning a bomb there. Stay off of the ferry. Don't ride any ferry until you get a clearance from me, okay?
Can I do one more thing?
Sure.
If this is not true, then how come the Fort Hamilton Navy base has barbed wire and is about to be sealed off in 2 days?
Well, because the Fort Hamilton Navy base is one thing, the Staten Island ferry is another. Think about it. You never saw the two of them photographed together, did you? Aha. Got you there. Thank you very much.
Know what I say?
We will be the wall.
Will hide behind the wall of the United States.
And the United States will be protecting the Arabs from Israel?
In effect. Only in effect. Now, let me bring that out.
I'm really sorry I came in today, folks, because there's hardly anybody with a full deck out there.
As I said,
the loony birds are out in force today. I don't know if it's the snow or what it is, but I've never heard such a conglomeration of idiots,
have I.
Of addle-brained nincompoops as you and the rest of the people, Mort. It's incredible.
Let me explain something.
You are absolutely mashugana. You really are playing with maybe two cards in a 52-card deck.
Say I don't have both laws.
How idiotic.
I don't have both laws in the water. I understand you. But let me just bring it out.
Can you believe this guy?
Let me bring it out quickly.
Are you calling from a convalescent home, Mort? No. You use a walker? Are you in a wheelchair? What are you doing, Mort? Huh?
Not yet, Bob. Not yet. Not
just your brain is in a wheelchair,
just
huh?
Let me bring this out to you. And if I'm wrong, of course, I say it's only a theory. But this guy
it's only a
the other
theory.
day said that his first reaction would be to bomb Israel. Am I right? Now, is Israel going to retaliate when the United States has 450,000 troops over there?
How much? When's the last time you had any muscatel? I think this guy's been dancing on the grape. This guy's had a little schnapps.
It sounds like
I don't believe this guy. Here, let me pour you one. Here, let me pour you one.
Oh, Bob, come on. That's great stuff. The drunker I stay here, the longer I can.
That's good. That's very good. Look, Chaim, here we go.
Would you just let me finish?
Yeah, sure, pal, sure. Go ahead, Mort. This is my pal, Mort, everybody. Go ahead, Mort.
All right.
Now, you wondered what happened to Mort when he lost his TV show? Now you know. Yeah, go ahead, Mort.
All right. Then the Arabs will not be attacked by Israel or retaliated against by Israel because the United States has 450,000 troops over there. Now, they feel very, very safe in saying whatever they want to say, doing whatever they want to do, knowing full well that Israel is never, ever going to retaliate. And that's my theory. And this thing was a very well planned and orchestrated and executed plot by all the Arabs.
Thank God I have only one more hour to go today.
And they will both get out of here.
Yeah, right, Mort, right. Yeah, I feel like I'm sitting in a saloon today. It's 5 o'clock.
First of all, our troops shouldn't be in Kuwait, but Arabs are not worth dying for.
Our troops are not in Kuwait. Saddam
Arabia.
Hussein's troops are in Kuwait.
Yes.
And that's why our troops are in Saudi Arabia.
Well, I'm a little nervous, but
you can be nervous, but don't be stupid.
Amados and Vanity, I'll punch your nose down your throat, you good for nothing piece of garbage.
Why do you hang around there?
No, but I know where that place is, you swine.
Well, wait a minute.
How come you don't tell people come down here and punch my nose? Huh? How come you don't say that anymore?
I don't tell people.
So you're too old now?
I don't.
Listen, jerk. I'll punch you. I'll beat the losing crap out of you.
Can you believe this guy?
A scumbag.
Can you believe this guy? How come?
You don't hang around with Joe Nolan anymore.
How come all of a sudden you're screaming and hollering?
Jay
What happened?
Diamond sodomized you better than Joe Nolan? That's what's wrong with you?
This guy's a real Sicola. This guy's a real AAA Sicola. I thought so when he gave the phony name. Matt, you're...
Destroy the military power of Iraq. That can be done very well from the air. To destroy the...
I have to laugh at all you armchair generals. You're all already deciding that we have not attempted to commit air power. You act as though for the last couple of months we've had our ground troops fighting a war.
No, exactly.
Not a shot has been fired yet. And you're already saying, why don't we rely on air power?
I don't think we should commit ground troops. If the ground troops are
they have to. Hey, look, pal. They have to be there.
They have to be there to protect Saudi Arabia.
All right, let's wait and see what happens. Okay? Thank you. What a bunch of pompous jerks we've got out there. All of a sudden, they're all military experts. Okay, so that guy called. He screamed. He hollered. You know what happened? A lot of people got off the line. People get nervous. They don't want me to holler at them. Well, don't be such gagazotes. Stay on the line. Bill?
That's right, Mr. Grant. I'd like your commenter to comment on the utter hypocrisy that I see coming out of the president's mouth, where he says that we do not negotiate with terrorists or reward aggression, when in fact it's quite apparent that that's all we've done in the past with the deal with the missiles in Iran. The fact that the United States government has armed El Salvador to the teeth while it continues to murder its people. And
cut it out. That same guy with the same left-wing rhetoric, reading from the same Marxist propaganda. Michael, you're on WABC. Hello.
I think today Hassan wears a toupee like you.
I beg your pardon?
Does he wear a toupee just like you?
Oh, this guy with the Jerry with the toupee obsession. Laugh at guys.
Hello, Bob.
Yes, Ray.
Yeah. First-time caller, and I'm a little nervous, so bear with me.
Bear with you? I don't know what that means, bear with. You mean no matter what you do, just sit here and let people get bored? What's on your mind, Raymond?
I don't mean that. I'm calling about, what we're facing, in Iraq, with Iraq, Kuwait, and all that. My major concern right now is for myself. I'm 26, which means I'm not too old to be drafted and go over there. And
there is no draft, you little weasel, you.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
It can be.
There is no draft. There is no draft.
Bob.
And even if they instituted one at 26, you're immune. You little weasel. My only concern is myself. What a great American. What a great patriot. Irving.
It was co-sponsored by Torricelli from New Jersey. I just want to let everybody know that these two guys have collected more PAC money from the Israeli lobby than any two congressmen in the United States.
Well, that doesn't make their position wrong, though.
Well, it doesn't make it wrong, but it's awful. Seems like the Israeli lobby is pushing for this war, doesn't it?
No, it seems as though anybody with any common sense is pushing to get Saddam Hussein out of there.
Well, it seems like...
And Stephen Solars was one of the most brilliant spokesmen supporting the president.
Oh, give me a break.
Yeah? I'll give you a break. There, you broke. You jerk. Unfortunately for me, ladies and gentlemen, I have half an hour more to go. But I guarantee you this. I've been doing talk radio for a long time, taking phone calls for a long time. And whenever the situation in the world or in the country gets to be the most critical, that's when the most loony birds seem to come out on the line. As you can tell from listening to today's program or Friday's program.
Possibility of other people, maybe in other countries, getting their hands on nuclear weapons. And it isn't the real issue non-proliferation of nuclear weapons.
Now, the real issue right now is that Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, has pillaged Kuwait, has devastated Kuwait, and won't leave Kuwait even though the UN has passed a mandate that he do leave Kuwait.
That's the issue today. But for the next 5 or 10 years, don't you see this being replayed over and over. For example, suppose there's a coup in Pakistan. Supposedly on Moynihan...
Suppose the world falls out of its orbit. Suppose somehow or other the force of gravity loses its ability to hold people on the face of the earth, and we start flying through space.
That's the nonsense.
Suppose the sun burns out. Suppose a star bumps into a star.
My supposition is...
My time is your time. Get off the phone, you sick jerk. I think it is. It's misleading, especially to the many unsophisticates out there.
Yeah. Okay, the other question I had is this. I hear the term conservative Democrat used. I've heard Sam Nunn referred to that way.
He's no conservative Democrat. I can give you his voting record, and if he's a conservative Democrat, then I'm a liberal Democrat.
Okay. Do you think, Bob?
What?
Do you think that the Russian killing is over, or do you think they're going to do the same type of thing in the other Balkan states?
They will do it wherever they feel so inclined. They will do it without hesitation. And with impunity in Latvia, they will do it in Estonia, they will do it in Moldavia, they will do it once again in Georgia, they will do it in Armenia, they will do it wherever they feel that they must do it. Because they have not changed one single bit. A leopard does not change its spots. Demonstrations and protests and a counter viewpoint are certainly proper. There's nothing wrong with that. But for heaven's sake, if you want to demonstrate, if you want to register your disapproval of our policy, then be accurate. It's Saddam Hussein's war we're on the verge of fighting, not Bush's war. But you see, because they got away with it during the Vietnam debacle, and Vietnam was a debacle, was a travesty in so many ways, they want to repeat it. They want to repeat their triumph of the late 60s and early 70s. They want to repeat their triumph. They want power for the sake of power. They are nihilists. They are nihilists who march today. And they give no thought to the consequences of their action. They give no thought to the reality of the situation. But we tolerate them because we are America. We are not Lithuania. We are America.
One is that on July 18th, the CIA reported to George Bush that there was an imminent attack of Kuwait by the Iraqis. I'd like to know what he did at that point to avert the initial attack. Maybe we wouldn't be in this position if some action was taken previous to the attack. There's also the fact that Iraq was complaining for 2 years that Kuwaiti was stealing the oil from the well that they share over their border, and no one did anything about that. No one, took the Kuwaitis to task for stealing the oil. So what we're really going to do is be reinstituting a government in Kuwait that was stealing from Iraq. They're nothing but thieves also.
In other words, what you're saying is it's okay what Iraq has done.
Absolutely not.
That it's okay to let Saddam... Oh, absolutely not. Thank you very much, then.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he was about to say something, and he didn't complete it because the guy choked up.
In my opinion, and I feel, and I say to myself, how could a person like yourself, such as yourself, for so many years I listened to you talk about the oil cartel and what they were doing to the American people, the way they charged us at will and nothing was ever done about it. And how could you, all of a sudden, feel that it's so necessary that young Americans, why must it always...
Oh, don't dramatize it. Don't propagandize.
Why must it be young
Don't propagandize, you anti-Israeli worm, you.
Why am I... What the hell did I say?
No, because that's what's on your mind. That's what's coming. You are so
paranoid.
You little weasel. You little putrid jerk. You anti-Semitic creep.
I don't know why you insist that everybody that calls up your show that doesn't have the same opinion that you have is anti-Semitic.
No. Not everybody. Not everybody.
You and Al Sharpton should eat out of the same pot.
No, it's not everybody, Phil. It's you. It's you, Phil.
Sharpton, you do the same thing that Al Sharpton does.
You're such a weasel. You're such a fake, phony fraud. You say you're going to show up. You say you're going to show up at the Daddy Styles dance party My foot, you didn't show up. You don't go to places like that.
What's that got to do with this conversation?
No, what's it got to do? It proves that you're a phony. It demonstrates that you're a fake.
I'm trying to make... Why do you, every time someone tries to make an explicit point...
No, you get on my nerves because you're so obvious. You're so obvious.
We must use
what a little nerd. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah, what a little nerd.
My question, why do we need 550,000 young American troops there? Why can't somebody else do this 30? What is it about Americans that they're so expendable the way we waste them?
I suggest you move out of this country then if you don't like living.
What does me to go
if you don't like living in the world's leader.
I feel about American people.
You're getting this. You know what? You're sounding like Adolf Hitler.
How about your son Jeff volunteering tonight to go there on the next plane that leaves?
Look at the way he's screaming, this guy, this maniac.
How about your son, Jeff?
What's that got to do with it? What's that got to do with it? What has that got to do with it? We don't have a draft. We don't have a draft, you creep. You little worm. Hey, you know what, Phil? I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I'll make a deal with you. After all these years of you getting on my nerves, make up your mind. One or two things. Why don't you come down here? Listen, you're retired now. You don't work. You don't do anything. Why don't you come down here to Manhattan some afternoon? Wait till the weather's nice. Don't come tomorrow because it's raining. It might rain on you.
Stop it. Listen.
I want you to poke me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, Brad, I'm Phil."
Because you didn't have the guts.
Say, "Hey, Brad,
and you think
I'm Phil." And then I'll punch your dumb nose. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll let you throw the first punch. I'll let you throw the first punch.
Why didn't you get it on with Mr. Jim Golden? Your former,
what has Jim Golden got to do with anything?
You? But you wouldn't, you just...
Okay, I got that. I think we, did get the dump on there? I hope we got it. Phil showed his true colors. Hopefully, Phil worked himself up so that he has a stroke. And maybe we won't hear from Phil anymore. Or the next time we do hear from him, it'll be... Hey, Phil, I know you're back at your radio. Too bad you couldn't control yourself, Phil. Too bad. Too bad you couldn't continue screaming, arguing, without resorting to four-letter words. Phil, you're a low-life skunk. I've got your number, and that's why you get upset. I would have preferred to tell you this on the telephone so you could have responded. But because of your inability to continue, I have to tell you this over your radio. Keep on listening, Phil. That's all you've got in your life is the Bob Grant program. Otherwise, it would be an empty existence.
I'll tell you what I feel about this Iraq situation. I think your warmongering is absolutely despicable. I think it's worth pointing out that the people who are shouting the loudest for us to destroy Saddam Hussein are diehard supporters of Israel, like you and Alphonse D'Amato and Stephen Solar,
we're not there
who've never been anywhere near a battlefield in their whole life.
We're not there for Israel, Steve.
Listen. You're not in any hurry to send your own kids to the Persian Gulf, are you?
Steve,
and it would be really refreshing if you stopped evading the issue and came right out and said, hey this guy's a menace to Israel, so we have to destroy him.
Wait a minute.
And it doesn't matter how many...
Why do you keep shouting? Hey, skunk, why do you keep shouting like that?
Because you talk
about evading. He talks about evading the issue. I had to turn him off. Hey, jerk, Gabon, I had to turn you off. He's still there, but I had to turn him off. He talks about evading the issue. Whatever happened to the invasion of Kuwait? It's like it never happened. It's like Kuwait never happened. All of a sudden, these two scumbag anti-Semites come on, and you'd think that Saddam Hussein had attacked Israel. Well, it's too bad he didn't attack Israel, because on August 2nd, instead of invading Kuwait, if he had attacked Israel, it all would have been over, because the Israelis would have finished him off without anybody's help. And that's what Jew haters like Steve and Phil don't want to admit. That slams the lid on things for today. I'm almost sorry our time is over. Until tomorrow, this is Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Hey, Phil, drop dead. It's 6 o'clock.
Good evening. I'm interested in saving lives.
in the Middle East.
Well, then I take it you're going to enlist in the medical corps.
No. I think what we should do is just stay right where we are in Saudi Arabia with the troops and stay with the sanctions and let Hussein make the move.
Let Hussein make the move. Well, he's not going to make any move.
He's going to stay in Kuwait, right?
He's going to stay in Kuwait forever.
How long is he going to stay in there?
Well, I don't know. I don't know his life expectancy, Tom. I don't know his life expectancy. But you mean to say that after all of this, we're going to say, we were only fooling?
No, I'm not saying that.
Ah, you jerk. Nick, you're on WABC. Hello.
Bob, wouldn't it be a horrible irony if we were finally drawn into war by the so-called peaceniks? You know, when we see the coverage of the media when they cover these peace demonstrations, and it looks as if the whole country is going to a revolt against the government, all we have to do is go out into our neighborhoods and see that nobody is marching, only these few malcontents. But when Saddam Hussein looks at American TV, he can't go outside. He looks at American TV and he gets the impression that we do not have the resolve. And I think that's why he's not going to pull out. Wouldn't it be ironic if we went into war because of the peaceniks?
You're guilty of reading my mind, Nick. You're guilty of reading my mind because as I've watched this thing unfold, I've thought the same thing. Wouldn't it be ironic? Well, it's not far-fetched at all because this is the impression conveyed. You know, in Baghdad, they get CNN. Even now, they're able to see CNN. And, of course, CNN, like all the other outlets for demonstrations, is portraying this very thing.
I mean, they portray...
Yeah, I would rather see them get together and burn some Iraqi flags. You know, when the Iraqis are able to see people in this country, I don't even call them Americans, but able to see people in the USA burning American flags, that's got to give them a big psychological lift. It's got to give them a big morale boost. The morale boost that they shouldn't be getting because all things being equal, their morale should be quite low after the devastating attack of yesterday.
That's it.
Yeah, Bob Grant here. Hello.
Yeah, hello. I think that Randall Moyer's and Kuralt's behavior is just disgraceful. It seems to me that CBS and NBC are going out of their way to interview civilians who are moaning and groaning about the fact that their children or wives or husbands are over there in the war. You know, weren't these people aware that the military's in the war business?
Yeah, it's like someone who becomes a policeman and then is surprised that he has to arrest somebody. You know? Yeah.
My disgust at some of the Democratic members of Congress. I was so ashamed that a country like Great Britain would overwhelmingly vote for support of force in Iraq when the Congress, by almost the smallest margin, would pass. And now they're flip-flopping and stumbling all over each other to say, oh, no, I didn't vote for that. The vote isn't important. What's important now is that we are successful.
Well, of course, if you're Sam Nunn and you have eyes on the presidency, you want to distance yourself from the disgrace you committed on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Naturally, you would want to do that. But people like Joe Lieberman, or for that matter, Al Gore, or 8 other Democratic senators, of course, Stephen Solar's in the House, they don't have to worry because they were on the right side from the beginning.
Unfortunately, last night, all of them had these comments. Let me give you one example. Jennings, 3 hours after the attack had started, we were in the midst of this thing. He had 7 people. One was in Amman, Jordan, one was here, one was there. He interrupted to make the following statement. 2 weeks ago, we made an investigation. We contacted 20 CEOs of major companies. None of them had sons in the Army in the Persian Gulf. We went through all of Congress. Only 2 of them had sons in the Persian Gulf. White mid-America is not in the Persian Gulf. What the hell? Who cares about that in the middle of the invasion? And then at one point, he called it a catastrophe. Why is it a catastrophe? No, we had no casualties, 1 casualty. Why was it a catastrophe? Because we were bombing Baghdad. That's not the way you talk in the middle of an invasion. And then rather, he was talking to a former general. He said, are you trying purposely to bomb civilians? How many civilians will be bombed? That can be discussed, but not 3 hours into the invasion? You know, what's going on with these people? Is he even an American, Jennings?
Well, he's Canadian, but that's neither here nor there. I thank you for the call. W.A.
A guy that I used to think is amusing, but I think his time is up, and he should be leaving this country. His name's Mehdi. I think he's about like a dinosaur. He should go by now. When he's talked about Bush as a butcher.
Yeah, well, he is showing that he was a fake and a phony and a fraud a couple of years ago when he appeared on my program and told me how proud he was to be an American citizen. He's no American citizen, not in his heart. He never was, he never could be. Mm-hmm. By the way, Mehdi was born in Baghdad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was born in Baghdad, and we ought to send him back to Baghdad. We ought to put him, we ought to strap him to one of those cruise missiles.
Yeah.
So that he could see the country as he goes to Valhalla.
Yeah.
Your last caller, and you guys want to strap Mehdi to a Tomahawk missile and send him over to Iraq. And my point is, how come the Jewish citizens of this country send so much money to Israel? They're always concerned about Israel. So what's so wrong about an Arab citizen being concerned about his mother country?
Well, if he is now an American citizen, then I don't think he should have divided loyalties. He might have divided emotions. He might have some understandable emotional feelings.
Well, I'm sure he's talking about his emotions, but I don't think he's talking about it in terms of patriotism. I think he's...
Well, look, you want to interpret him? It's very clear where he stands. He always has. He has an organization that has been... I ought to know. I've interviewed the guy enough times. And his heart is truly not here with this country. His heart is with Iraq. He never should have left it.
But so is the case with the Jewish citizens of this country.
There's a big...
there's a gas mask in
No, I would not equate the two at all. But obviously, since you're a jerk, you would, you fake. Hello? Now, Channel 13, I saw, of all people, Jesse Jerkson.
Oh, that guy.
And
Can I say what I want to say?
I thought Al D'Amato handled him pretty well, but go ahead.
Absolutely. You're taking my thunder away from me. I mean, he just totally ripped into him. I mean, he just tried to turn the conversation to his brothers, so-called brothers and sisters, and Al D'Amato just went after him like he should have.
Yeah.
And I don't know the name of the moderator, but
Bill Moyers.
No, it was a woman. It was a woman. It was a woman. When I saw it, it was a woman.
All right.
But anyway, then he jumped on him. Another fella jumped on him. The woman, I think she's a congressperson from Maryland. That lady, I forget her name. She brought up the fact that it was basically an all-volunteer army because he was throwing percentages around. And then after, they kind of put him in his place, I think he was kind of shocked that they jumped on him like that.
Well, he's so used to people kissing his ass.
Yeah.
He can't believe it when somebody stands up to him. He thinks everybody's going to be afraid of him because he's got that pigmentation,
Yeah, but you talk about being a racist. I mean, he wants to be accepted, for what he is.
He's America's...
Now he's a socialist. From the word go.
Well, worse than anything else is he's anti-American. There's never been a time that he has stood up for America. Never.
I've never seen him yet defend America.
I'd like to put him and Ramsey Clark on that same Tomahawk missile along with
Mr. Dellums and Mr. Dellums.
Oh, Dellums.
That whole cadre.
Well, Dellums ought to go to Zaire, declare himself the chief potentate, declare war on America, and be done with it.
Then become a multimillionaire, buy his way out of it.
Well, I think he's beginning to look like a multimillionaire already.
But that's what I have to say.
Well, I tell you, he's in good company, though, rather is, because Kuralt proved to be an idiot. The producers obviously are idiots. Connie Chung, I'm sorry to say, was an idiot last night. And that relic.
And, sir, I must say...
This is Walter Cronkite. He was an idiot also.
Yeah, and I have to tell you that in my house, Channel 2 is out of my remote control. I don't allow anybody to yes, believe me, I don't allow anybody to watch Channel 2 in my house.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Right.
But CBS was obscene, absolutely obscene.
By the way, what's going on in San Francisco, that they burned
police cars. They hoisted a burning flag. Now, how could the city government of San Francisco allow that? I mean, what is going on there? I don't understand that. I mean, are they that?
Well, I wouldn't say that they allowed it. Maybe things got out of hand and they just couldn't contain it. It isn't that they sanctioned it or allowed it. I don't think it's fair to use words like allow.
Do you think that could happen in New York?
It could. It could happen in New York. I don't think it would happen as easily in New York as it would San Francisco, because San Francisco, for a variety of reasons, has much more militant types, much more anti-American types. And you know what? I beg your pardon?
I said unbelievable.
Oh, you said unbelievable.
Okay. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. The gay community. Gay. Are you gay? No, I'm very unhappy today. Anyway, the homosexual community represents 1/7 of the population. They say San Francisco has a population of almost 700,000 people, and 100,000 are that way. So that's a very large percentage, and they, for the most part, have not exactly been the most gung-ho Americans. I don't want to put the blame entirely on them. There's a lot of riffraff out there. It seems to attract a lot of riffraff, and unfortunately, we don't take the strong measures we should take when people are doing things like burning automobiles. They want to walk around with placards. They want to demonstrate, this is America. They can go ahead and demonstrate. But they have no right to burn a vehicle belonging to the people of the state of California. Thank you for the...
Yes, Bob. Bob, as an American, I'm standing tall and walking proud. God bless President George Herbert Walker Bush, because he had the plain old-fashioned American guts, gumption, and backbone to stand up to a thug and hoodlum in Iraq. You know, Bob Grant, I have never been to an anti-war demonstration. But last night I said, let me go down and see what exactly it was like. I tell you, Bob Grant, the vermin and lice that I saw in Times Square. I got into an argument with the newsman. I said, you're down here covering this just by your being. There's some kind of political and moral validity to these people. What the hell makes any more moral or politically valid than me? What gives these so much weight that they constantly have to be covered? And it was not a large crowd, Bob. If you see a photo in the New York Times today, you think that they filled the whole street. These are what I call the new fascists of the left, and they fit their own definition of fascism because they believe, Bob Grant, that what they want should supersede our Constitution. We voted president. We in New York voted Senator Alfonso, and they are carrying out the duly and legally elected will of the people. But this rebel that was in last night to supersede the Constitution, and that if they don't get what they want, then they have the right to disrupt our lives. What right do they have to block traffic, to stop people from getting home or going where they want, or having free passage? They are a very mean and arrogant bunch of individuals, Bob Grant, who feel that whatever the heck they want counts much more than us. That we're just a flotsam and jetsam in America, and everything that they want is important. They know what's best. Well, I say this, and I saw one group of nuts, Bob Grant, calling themselves eco-feminists. Could you imagine how crazy they are? Well, after we get rid of Hussein, I think the American people better take a good look inward at the types of groups that are creating political pressures in this society and are endangering and threatening our legal constitutional rights. Thank you.
All right, right on target. But anyway, why is it when a madman like a Saddam is loose, these creeps, these speckless scumbags, demonstrate for peace? Why don't they demonstrate for victory? Victory. It's a beautiful word. Alan, you're in.
That guy who felt that Israel doesn't have the right to defend itself, I think he deserves the Gavon of the Year award, perhaps even the Gagazot of the Year award.
No, he's not a Gavon, he's not a Gagazot, he's something else.
Yeah, well, he's an anti-Semitic...
right,
but
now you're getting
I just want to invite him to a peace march on the Brooklyn Bridge. I'll be attending by car. Thanks a lot, Bob.
I love it! Very good. And by the way, speaking of military hardware, I hope no American forgets that most of that hardware is Soviet hardware, that even as late as a couple of days ago, we stopped a Soviet merchant ship. I think it was last week, stopped a Soviet merchant ship carrying tank parts and rocket launchers bound in all likelihood for Iraq. Matter of fact, it was bound for Iraq. It wasn't bound for anywhere else. I think the Soviets have been playing a double game, and I think more than ever now that it's pathetically obvious that Mikhail Gorbachev is what he always was, a fake, a phony, a fraud, a communist swine skunk. And I hope that after this is over, we can deal with him. I'm not talking about militarily. I'm not talking about a strike against him, but I mean deal with him verbally the way we would like to be, but can't right now because of the preoccupation with Kuwait. It's hello to you.
Hello, Bob. How are you?
What's on your mind?
Why did I do that? I know. I'm not supposed to keep asking you how you are.
From Brooklyn. It's Jeff from Brooklyn on WABC with Bob Grant. Yes?
They are amazing. They are brilliant. They are the best. Who said that yesterday? That was you, Bob Grant, describing our superiority in the air. They only killed 11 aircraft. I just saw a report on CNN. They only killed 11 aircraft. Can't you see what he's doing, this guy? He's taking the first blow.
I didn't say that they killed I didn't say that they knocked out a lot of aircraft.
Well, the way you explained it, our superiority in the air, it's like we took away 80% of its,
I never used figures like 80%.
Did you use the word amazing?
I didn't use figures like 80%. You saw that on television. I didn't use
But did
those
you use
figures.
the word amazing?
What is your problem, pal? Where does it hurt? Where does it hurt?
I hope I'm wrong when I'm
I hope I'm wrong. Where does it hurt?
Can't you understand? Can you see what he's doing? He's taking the first punch. He's going to absorb it. He's got all his planes hidden, stockpiled.
Well, he's got. Hey, look! If he hides them and never uses them, then he might just as well not have them.
Okay.
The only way they make any difference, the only way they are meaningful, is if he uses them.
Yeah. Okay, but he could use them in the future.
Hey, look! In the meantime, we are hitting ground targets day in and day out.
That's it. You're just hitting ground. You're not hitting any target.
Oh, I see. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put this guy in the newsbreaker. Roy, we should put this guy in the newsbreaker line because we have a real expert who's just come back from Iraq who knows the situation. Are you a general, sir? Air Force general? Army general? What are you, sir? Besides a big windbag. Get off my phone! You jerk. On your AM radio. Until Monday, this is Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Get Saddam Hussein. And you accept it, apparently.
I didn't say I accepted it.
Well, it sounds as though you've embraced it almost 100%.
No.
By virtue of your last... If that's true, this is a sad day for America.
Well, isn't that true?
No, I don't believe it's true at all.
Why not?
Why not? Because we're dealing with an individual who has clearly demonstrated that he is a person who is seeking to control the entire Middle East. A person who had told Mubarak on a previous occasion before the split, he said, look, he said, if you act quickly, you can help me carve up Saudi Arabia. Well, get off my phone, you two-bit phony jerk. What a jerk. First he says he doesn't accept it, and then he proves that he does. One thing I can't stand is a fake, a phony, a fraud, and that was Tom of Bricktown. Yashki booze.
Wanted to mention in detail was this meeting yesterday, support for Israel. I couldn't help but notice the large number of people, Cuomo, Dinkins, Mark Green, who ran against the motto in '86, Ruth Messenger, who last week was in a counter-protest against the war before the missiles hit Israel. All of them oppose virtually every missile system, weapon system that we're using, and specifically the number one target of the derision, and I think also in Washington, of the people like
Congresswoman Pat Schroeder, of the Star Wars defense system. Everyone is talking about the Patriot. Everywhere you go to work, everyone talking about it. Seems to be the first thing off the lips was, hey, did you see that Patriot knock the Scud out of the air? That weapon system was a first-class derivative of the work that was done on the Strategic Defense Initiative as a result of the Reagan administration's procurement and spending on SDI. Without that system, there'd be no Patriots protecting Israel. There'd be no Patriots protecting Saudi Arabia. I think that's very, very important because a lot of these people, aside from their animosity to all of the cruise missiles and other weapon systems, virtually all of them were opposed to the SDI, even if they supported some of the larger weapons programs that you're seeing today, the stealth bomber, the cruise missiles, etc. SDI was a very easy target of derision for someone who just wanted to appease the liberal left and show some moderation in defense spending. So I think it's very, very important to remember that, because without SDI, Bob, there is no Patriot system at all. It was a clear derivative of that Strategic Defense Initiative, and basically it was a result of the computer technology done on SDI, which allowed this missile system to be able to track incoming missiles very, very quickly. I remember that because when I see Governor Cuomo, and especially Mark Green and Ruth Messenger, and all these people talking about shelving SDI for human needs programs, I remember that. Hopefully Republicans will remember it next fall when it comes to a couple of sound bites for 1992 when these people were talking about killing SDI in the mid-'80s.
Well, in some respects, you might say that the sending of Scuds into Israel on the part of Saddam Hussein turned out to backfire against him because it has brought over these fake phonies into our side, at least on the surface anyway. But you're absolutely right.
Absolutely,
and it isn't just. It isn't just the people you mentioned. I want to point out a couple of other fakes. A fake by the name of Frank Lautenberg. Suddenly now he's supportive. And that pompous oaf, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who voted in Congress against America's use of force against Iraq. Now he believes that we should go beyond the liberation of Kuwait. He said, we cannot leave the Middle East until Saddam Hussein is gone. Well, thank you, Pat. We're glad to have you with us.
And two more, Bob. If you note his presidential leanings, only a few weeks ago in another 360 for him, Sam Nunn said he was going to come out against SDI deployment. So I wonder how he feels there. And on a more local note, I give him a little bit of honesty. Ed Koch, who, like a lot of these people who opposed aid to the El Salvador or Nicaragua, or opposed the
Ed Koch has been pretty good on foreign policy.
Yeah, at least, Bob, he's got the guts to admit that he voted against a lot of the weapons programs, from the C-5 transport to the Patriot, that are now defending Israel. He's got the guts to at least where he was wrong. A lot of these other people who turned into superhawks only with respect to missiles coming down on Israel, they have a lot to learn, and hopefully they'll have a talk with Mr. Koch before this confrontation.
Thank you, Mike. In CNN, the three networks I just mentioned made the conduct of the war their number one story. The reaction to that conduct of the war, the number two story. CBS, on the other hand, with lefties like Tubbo, Charles Kuralt, Connie Chung, who really is in over her head, and Bill Plant and a few others, they're talking about the so-called anti-war movement. As a matter of fact, I don't believe, in my book, Charles Kuralt will never come out from under what he did on the night of the 16th. After Dan Rather had turned things over to him, he said, Charlie, any thoughts? And no, he didn't even say any thoughts. He said, now he's Charles Kuralt. And Charles says, the nation is divided, Dan. That's the first thing out of his mouth. The nation is divided. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. Even though he works for the same company I do, I think that Sam Donaldson is an absolute disgrace. I think the man is an abomination who has no business continuing to be portrayed as a reporter on ABC anymore. He's not a reporter at all. He ought to be honest and come over here and do a talk show and admit that he deals in opinions and that he has definite biases. Sam, it'll make you feel good if you do it. I do it every day. I dedicate this program to an exchange of opinions, Sam. But Sam Donaldson is no newsman. Yesterday, in a conversation with George Will, George Will said, thank God for Ronald Reagan and his assistance on building up the defenses. Thank God for SDI, and Sam Donaldson had a fit over that. It's 18 minutes before 5 o'clock.
A couple of articles that were written, one by Mike McAlary before the war, and he said the secretary must wait another 6 days to quench his bloodthirst. Saddam Hussein is not afraid of us. Only a wimp golfer, Mr. Bush. Most Americans will go dead in the sand and lost promise, etc., etc. But the sickest human being, and we are lucky, dismissed by the Wall Street Journal because they're changing their format, is Mr. Alexander Cockburn. His father was a communist. I assume this guy was too. In the war that has just begun, the fighting, killing, and dying on the West will be done in a disproportionate degree by people pressed into the military by economic hardship. Listen to this. Using weapons badly made by manufacturers colluding with the Defense Department in the paired invoice and the faked test. That will be the fighting, killing, and dying as the consequence of cowardly political leadership. Pete Hamill, when you think he's made a new low, was disgraceful last week.
Oh, he called the president's marvelous speech, his measured speech, vulgar. He called it vulgar.
He said, Mr. Solos and Mr. D'Amato, if you want to go, why don't you go and fight like Teddy Roosevelt did?
Yeah.
I mean, just a pitiful performance by this guy, and he always comes up with a new low. Somebody called last week and talked about the Jewish people in the House of Representatives and the Senate. Well, the vote happens to be 17-15 against in the House and 3-2 against in the Senate, making it 20 against and 17 in favor.
Yeah, you mean against the president?
Bush. Against Bush.
Right.
Yeah, right. So that's totally false.
Yeah.
The Fred Friendly program last week, what was Eleanor Holmes Norton doing there? I don't understand that. What does she have to do with the war? By the way, a friend of mine who lives in Washington says she has not paid the tax and is up on charges for 8 years.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And she blamed it on the fact that her husband, who was a lawyer, didn't pay the taxes. But the government is digging further, and that is just not the case. And she came along with this garbage also. Well, these people didn't know why they signed up. They thought they were going to get a free ride, and they shouldn't be there. What she was doing there, I don't know. And Aunt Quinlan was ridiculous by saying, when they asked her, well, what about your son going to war? Make it my daughter. Who would I call if I had to find out about the war? Ron Kovic. And this country once had Sergeant York as a hero, then Audie Murphy, Colin Kelly, and now our hero is supposed to be Ron Kovic. This is a lot of problems if that's the case.
You covered a lot of bases, and you scored direct hits on every one, Al. Thank you.
I don't know if you saw it, but they had this congresswoman from California.
Barbara Boxer.
No, Oakar.
Oh, she's not from California.
Oh.
She's from Ohio.
Oh.
Mary Rose Oakar. Right. Yeah, I saw her.
Did you hear what she said about Bush, that he started the war just to get out of his economic? And Kovic, the interviewer, Novak, gave her the chance to retract it. He asked her again. He said, would you say that again, please? And she said, Bush started the war just to get out of his economic policies at home. And he couldn't. I mean, everybody was just mesmerized. They could not believe that she said this. And she would not retract it.
Well, she's from a district that the composition of which would keep re-electing her, even though she is an unworthy skunk, even though she's a scum of the earth.
Terrible.
She really, not that Congress is that lofty an institution, but even she is not good enough for Congress. Congress is too good even for her.
She's a disgrace, Bob.
Yep, she absolutely is.
I couldn't believe it.
Yep.
All right, Bob, thank you.
I saw that. She was on with Newt Gingrich.
Yes,
yeah, right.
Terrible.
Right.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. It's not able to pay attention. Unfortunately, we're not able to pay attention to the perfidy of Mikhail Gorbachev. Mikhail Gorbachev, who is a fake, a phony, a fraud, and hopefully will be removed from the scene. All these people who were so concerned with helping him, bailing him out, keeping him in office, saying that he was the only hope, how wrong they were. How wrong they were.
You know, it just struck me today. I was listening to the news. There's only one fault with these Patriot missiles. You know what that is? It doesn't seek out people like Margot Kidder and hit them. That's what it should do. It doesn't seek out people like Margot Kidder.
Oh, Margot Kidder, yeah.
She when I think of her, I think of the scud anyway. It's kind of the same thing, you know?
Yeah, she looks like a tramp anyway. I've never really liked her. No,
but not anymore. She's horrible. She repulses me now.
You know who she belongs with? She belongs with Casey Kasem. Another scumbag. Okay,
absolutely.
Thanks for the call. Slams the lid on things for today. Until tomorrow, this is Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Kill Saddam Hussein.